Yeah, Steve's back. He's just got a new suit and he's called 2 now. So I've been camping, it's got to be 3 years just hitting. I think I've earned the right to say I've got enough knowledge of how to start, what to buy, and you know, just share the basics, as it were. So I'm just going to share a few things. If you're starting out, maybe you've already started but you just want a little bit of knowledge, so I'm just going to share that with you, and hopefully it will do you some good. It's getting your gear is quite simple. It's just the price of everything that's a bit distressing. But this is mainly for the starters, for those people who want to get into it or they've tried it and they want to continue on. So I'm going to give you a few bits of advice and hopefully it will do you some good. So a lot of people, when they're starting out, the first thing they look for is a tent, which, you know, it is an important part of your shelter, but it's not the most important part because there's different tents for different situations. Right now we're in summer, start of a heat wave again. You're not going to need a 4-season tent, something that's going to handle, you know, mountain terrain and snow blizzards and that, are you? No, you're going to want a summer tent, but you don't want a cheap tent from B&M that costs 15 quid. You don't want to buy one of those because they're no good. So you want something half decent. But yeah, we all make that mistake. We all go out and overspend on something that, you know, it's not meant for the conditions we're using it in. So shelter wise, keep it simple. And I hate to say this, but I can highly recommend Nightcat 2-person tent. Looks like a 3FUL gear Taiji 2. I might have put a picture of it down here. That's a good tent, plenty of room, easy to set up. It's not overly heavy, but it's got a bit of weight to it. And on a day like this, you know, it's got the right amount of mesh on the inner. I highly recommend one of those, even though I've kind of fallen out with the company, but let's not dwell on that. But your most important part of your camping gear is actually your sleeping system, because you can have a good night's sleep in a bad tent, but you can also have a bad night's sleep in a good tent. So you kind of want that to be your average. You want a good sleep system. You can go with closed cell foam mats, you can go with air mats, you can go the whole hog and go full-on inflatable from Coleman or something like that. But it depends what type of camping you're doing. So in the winter you want a mat with a high R value. So I think around about 5-ish is good, depending on how cold it is. If it's going to be extreme weather, go for something well above 5 on the R value. Weather like this, I usually just take a foil mat with a really low R value mat, like my Rambler Peak, which is I think 2.4 R value. That is a good bit of kit. Spend a bit of extra money on your sleep system, I'm saying, for the conditions you're going to use it in. Don't go overboard in the tent, go overboard on your sleep system. Your sleeping bag's just as important, and so is your pillow. Pillow wise, go for something inflatable. Trekology makes some good pillows. I use one of their pillows and that's really good. Like, I can't fault Trekology. They've got loads of different styles of them, and it's actually good bang for your buck really with Trekology. A lot of people use them, so look into that maybe. Your sleeping bag, well, I started out with an Asda sleeping bag, Ozark Trail. I think it's Walmart in America. Yeah, I started out with that, and that did a job. I've actually still got it. I'll use it now and again in the summer. But your sleeping bag is important too. When buying a sleeping bag, a lot of people get confused about all the, you know, the ratings and that and what to look for. Look for your comfort level. Your comfort level is very important. If you've got a sleeper bag that's comfort level, I don't know, 25 degrees, any colder than that, you're going to struggle. I'll just walk around in a circle. Don't know why. You're not going to get the benefit of it. So just get the right sleeping bag for the temperature that you're expecting. You can always layer up if it gets any colder, but you can't layer down too much. As soon as you're in your birthday suit, that's it. Good night, Irene. Then you've got cookers, you know, your stoves and that. Stoves, you can really go budget on that. All you need really is something dependable and something that ain't gonna waste a lot of fuel. So something with a regulator is good because it'll really squeeze out the gas out of the can. And then you've got pots and pans. Well, that's up to you. It's up to you how much you want to carry. Me, I normally just carry one like metal pot that I can boil water in. I can put a boil in the bag meal in. 700 millilitres, I think my favourite stove and pot combo is, and that does a job. You just got to remember, the more simpler you keep it, the less problems you're going to have. I'm going to take you back to the back cave and we'll have a word there. I want to do this a bit more comfortably, but I can't actually find my higher tripod. So we're on the floor. We're going to run through the basics here, just quick bit of knowledge. Depending on what type of camping you're doing, wild camping isn't actually legal in the UK. And I'll read this off the internet. Scotland is the only country in the UK where wild camping is legally permitted across most unenclosed land. In England, Wales and Northern Ireland, wild camping without landowner permission is technically civil trespass. Don't be a bad boy. With a few highly specific geographical exceptions. Okay, so if you're in Scotland, under the Land Reform Act and the Scottish Outdoor Access Code, you have a statutory right to wild camp responsibly on most unenclosed land. I won't go through where you camp because if you live up that way, then it's probably local knowledge. Okay, yeah, well, England, sorry, not the UK. We're basically really crap here for wild camping. Dartmoor, yeah, legal to wild camp there, but I will say know where you're going on Dartmoor before you actually leave, because there's, you know, firing there from the military and stuff like that. So double check the times where you're going and plan ahead. To be fair, planning ahead on camping trips is a big yes. You've got to do it. Plan ahead and just check everything, including your baggage. In the Lake District, it's not legally permitted, but it's tolerated as long as you're not taking the piss. So yeah, all good there. Wales and Northern Ireland, restricted, it's saying here. Snowdonia and the Brecon Beacons, wild camping is illegal without permission. However, Brecon Beacons National Park maintains a helpful register of local farmers who officially allow campers onto their land. I quite like that, yeah. They've got a register for where you can go. That's good. There's other things you can do. There's an actual website Jake's used. It's called Camp Wild. And basically what it is you pay a subscription and you get access to all these areas that landowners have that they actually rent out to you. So it's like Airbnb, it's air camp, air pitch, whatever you want to call it. But that's a bit expensive. Myself, I'm actively trying to seek permission land, which is a good way to go. Basically, it's land that you and the owner have actually said is allowed to be used for wild camping, and they're okay with it as long as you leave it tidy, which is the way it ought to be. No matter where you go camping, you should leave no trace. Campsite, easiest way to start, easiest way to test your equipment. I use campsites all the time to test my equipment before I take it out, either on a big trek or, you know, before I review it, because it's a safe environment. They'll have toilets, they'll have showers, they'll have water, so you're guaranteed a relaxed time. Because I've been wild camping before and been on edge, and it just really isn't nice. And if you don't know your gear when you go wild camping, then yeah, that could cause problems. But campsites, that's a good way to start, and that's also a good way to test your gear. So the golden rules for any type of camping is leave no trace. If you brought it, take it back. If you do see something that shouldn't be there, take it with you if you can, you know, just to help out. Second rule is no fires. You don't need a fire. Unless it's a survival situation, you really don't need a fire. So yeah, don't do it. I personally don't ever have fires. I think I've had one fire during the last 3 years in a firebox. I really didn't think we needed it anyway. It was more for the ambience. Start late, leave early. Simple as that. You know, that goes back to the leave no trace thing. Don't be seen if you are going to be illegally camping. I'm not condoning camping illegally. I'm just saying that nothing should be seen, including yourself. One of the main rules is if you do get caught, move on quietly. Don't kick up a fuss, because the last thing you want is them actually able to act on the fact that you're trespassing. So just say sorry, apologise, pack up your gear, say thank you and leave. I've had it in the past. I left and I had no problems at all. The landowner was actually able to point me to somewhere where I could go. So if you're polite, keep your manners about you, you won't have any problems. One of the important things about starting camping is really do your research. Not just on the area you're going, but on your gear. Because I've brought gear before without even looking at the reviews or reading up about it, and it's just turned out to be crap. So yeah, really research the stuff you buy. Don't go overly cheap. Why does it keep on going off? Don't go cheap. Was it buy cheap, buy twice, I think they say. Places to get the gear, you know, your gear from, well, eBay's a big one. Yeah, I brought a lot of stuff on eBay. I haven't had any problems with it really. Message the seller. Ask them questions. Just let them know that you really are interested in buying this, but you want to know more about what they're selling. You know, I'd like to know what pints I'm drinking before I actually drink them. So I ask, what's that? Amazon's a big one. Good for the reviews, but you got to, you know, take the reviews with a pinch of salt, because sometimes they're fake reviews. Another resource is YouTube. You can read up, listen to people talk about information about it. YouTube's a good resource, not just for gear, but for places to go and laws. And the main thing about wild camping is just don't be a dick. Yeah, don't be a dick. If you go to a campsite or you go wild camping, don't be loud and obnoxious, because that's going to get you in trouble. You'll either draw attention to yourself or you'll get kicked off of a campsite or wherever you are camping. Just have your manners about you. It doesn't cost anything to be polite, does it? So please remember that. So I'm going to end this video with this. Research, be safe, don't be a dick. It's as simple as that. Now, I hope this has actually been helpful to you. So that being said, thank you for watching, and, you know, be kind.